People are losing $40,000 on motorhomes they bought last year. And the worst part? Most of them thought they were being careful. It is not bad luck. It is not the economy. It is one decision made in the wrong order, and it happens before they ever leave the dealership. Most buyers walk in knowing what they want: floor plan, slide outs, brand name. They have watched the tours, they have read the brochures, they feel ready. They are not ready. Because what they optimized for, the aesthetics, the amenities, the wow factor on the showroom floor, has nothing to do with what determines whether that coach costs them $40,000 or makes them $40,000 when they go to sell. At today's interest rates, that $40,000 loss is not just depreciation. It is interest paid on something that is already losing value, month after month, before a single mile gets put on the engine. One of the motorhomes on this list is secretly the worst financial decision you can make in 2026. Looks incredible, sells fast, destroys buyers quietly over 24 months. I will show you exactly which one and why before this video ends. But first, the rule that separates smart buyers from expensive mistakes. Stop before you look at a single floor plan. In 2026, the luxury motorhome market has reset. Pandemic-era coaches bought in 2020 and 2021 are flooding the used market right now, heavily depreciated, deferred maintenance stacking up, sellers motivated, which means if you know what you are doing, this is one of the best buying windows in a decade. If you do not know what you are doing, it is one of the most dangerous. Here's the rules smart buyers follow in 2026. Buy the platform, not the build. The chassis, the engine, the transmission. These are the variables that will either protect your investment or drain it. The furniture, the countertops, the residential refrigerator, those are the variables that will seduce you into the wrong decision. The best-looking coach in the lot is rarely the smartest purchase in the lot. Write that down, because every vehicle on this list gets evaluated through that lens, and one of them fails it badly, despite a price tag that says otherwise. Number 1. Tiffin Allegro bus. Here's the part dealers will never say out loud. Not all luxury motorhome manufacturers will touch your coach after you drive it off the lot. Most refer you to a dealer network that varies wildly in competency. Some leave you completely exposed when something goes wrong 1,200 miles from home. Tiffin does something almost no one else in this space does. They built a factory service center in Red Bay, Alabama, and they will work on your coach regardless of where you bought it. That is not an industry standard. That is an anomaly. And when your slide mechanism fails at miles 60,000 in a market where RV technicians are booking 6 weeks out, that anomaly is worth $15,000 in avoided cost alone. The Allegro bus runs $280,000 to $340,000 new in 2026. Used 2021 to 2023 units are trading between $185,000 and $240,000. That spread exists for a reason. Condition and mileage variance in this segment is extreme. Do not buy on price alone. Under the hood, Cummins ISX 12 engine, Allison 3000 series transmission. This is the pairing commercial fleet operators trust for 300,000 miles service life. It does not strand you. It does not surprise you. It performs. Biggest hidden cost: slide room seals. On a 5-slide coach in a humid or coastal climate, you're looking at $3,000 to $8,000 in seal replacement every 5 to 7 years. Accelerate that if you store the coach with slides deployed. Budget for it before you sign anything. Who should not buy it? Buyers who need on-demand local service. The Tiffin factory backstop requires you to get to Red Bay. If your travel patterns make that impractical, the core advantage of this coach disappears. Know your use case before you fall in love with the floor plan. Number 2. Newmar Dutch Star. Stop. This is where most buyers overpay without realizing it. Newmar builds coaches the way this industry used to build everything, obsessively, in-house, with structural integrity as the non-negotiable. The Dutch Star sits below Newmar's King Air and Mountain Air flagships, but shares critical build quality DNA with both. New pricing in 2026, $280,000 to $360,000. Used 2021 to 2022 units are currently in the $175,000 to $225,000 range. This window is closing. As pandemic-era inventory clears, this price band compresses. Buyers who move in the next 6 months buy better than buyers who wait 12 months. Here's what most buyers miss on the Dutch Star: the tag axle option. Buyers who skip it on a 45-foot coach discover premature tire wear, degraded handling, and load distribution problems that compound over miles. A coach without the tag axle that should have had one will cost you $4,000 to $6,000 in tire and suspension attrition over 5 years of full timing. Buy used units that already have it, non-negotiable. The Freightliner XCR chassis underneath has over 600 service locations across North America. When you're full timing across 2 continents, that network is not a footnote, it's real money. Biggest hidden cost: the HWH hydraulic leveling system. It will eventually develop a leak or a pump failure. When it does, you're looking at $2,500 to $7,000 depending on the component. Get a pre-purchase inspection that specifically pressure tests this system. Any inspector who skips this step is not doing their job. Who should not buy it? Weekend buyers. The Dutch Star is engineered for sustained use. Coaches that sit 11 months a year develop seal failures, system failures, and battery degradation that full-timers never see. If you're not running 10,000 to 20,000 miles per year, you're buying more coach than your usage pattern justifies, and you will pay for that mismatch when you go to sell. Number 3. Entegra Cornerstone. Here is where this list gets complicated. The Cornerstone is Entegra's flagship, Spartan K3 chassis, Cummins X15 engine, 605 horsepower. This is commercial-grade power plant architecture in a luxury motorhome body, and on paper it is dominant. New pricing pushes $500,000 to $600,000. Used 2019 to 2021 units are currently in the $280,000 to $380,000 range. But here's what you need to know before you get excited about those numbers. Entegra is manufactured by Jayco, which is owned by Thor Industries. That ownership structure doesn't automatically make this a bad coach. The chassis and drivetrain are legitimate. What it does affect is the warranty experience, the dealer interaction, and the long-term support ecosystem. And buyers who don't account for this routinely discover that the flagship price tag didn't buy them flagship service. The X15 has a time between overhaul measured in hundreds of thousands of miles when maintained correctly. Full synthetic oil, Cummins service intervals, proper warm-up and cool-down at operating temperature. Cut corners on any of these, and you're accelerating a rebuild conversation that starts at $30,000. Biggest hidden cost: residential appliances. At this price point, the Cornerstone ships with residential refrigerators, wine coolers, washers, dryers. None of these are engineered for vehicle vibration. Compressor failures, door latch failures, drum bearing failures on a residential washer in a moving coach are not edge cases, they are scheduled events. Budget $5,000 to $8,000 in appliance attrition over 5 years of full timing. It is not a maybe, it is a win. Who should not buy it? Anyone within 5 years of their first motorhome. The Cornerstone rewards experienced operators who know what a proper PDI looks like, who can identify a hydraulic pressure anomaly before it compounds. First-time buyers in a $500,000 vehicle are paying for an education they should have gotten cheaper. Quick reality check. If you're comparing motorhomes based on interiors right now, countertops, cabinet finishes, upholstery, you're already making the mistake that costs buyers $40,000. The interior is not the investment. The platform is. Keep that framing as we go through the next 4. Number 4. Thor Tuscany. The Tuscany is the most underrated value play on this entire list. New Thor Tuscany models run $220,000 to $270,000. Used 2021 to 2023 units are trading at $140,000 to $185,000. And at that used price point, with the right configuration, this is one of the strongest total cost of ownership propositions in the luxury segment. Smart buyers go diesel on the Tuscany. The 340 horsepower Cummins ISX diesel configuration is lighter, more fuel efficient, and better supported than the gas alternatives. Fuel economy 8 to 10 miles per gallon at highway speed versus 6 to 8 in the gas trim. Over 20,000 miles per year at current diesel prices, that delta funds a meaningful portion of your annual maintenance budget. This is also a coach that independent diesel shops can service competently. For buyers who travel regions where brand-specific support is thin, and there are large parts of both the US and Europe where it is very thin, that serviceability is not a minor benefit. It's a strategic advantage that saves you weeks of downtime over a 5-year window. Biggest hidden cost: roof membrane integrity. The Tuscany uses an EPDM rubber membrane on the main roof section. Delamination from water intrusion, often from a cracked lap sealant joint the previous owner never noticed, can cost $8,000 to $25,000 to repair, depending on how far it is progressed. Inspect the roof. Walk every inch. Pay for an independent inspector to do it before you wire a dollar. This is the single area where Tuscany buyers get hurt most in the used market. Who should not buy it? Buyers who need 45 feet. The Tuscany tops at 42 feet. For couples or solo full-timers, not a constraint. For families full-timing with children who need dedicated workspace and separate sleeping zones, the floor plan runs out of solutions. Number 5. Foretravel IH-45. Stop. This one is structurally different from everything else on this list, and most buyers have never heard of it. Foretravel builds fewer than 200 coaches per year in Nacogdoches, Texas. That production volume means every single build receives attention that no volume manufacturer can match. And here is the data point that matters most in the used market. Foretravel owners do not sell. Retention rates in this ownership base are among the highest in the entire luxury segment. Low supply, retained value, proven loyalty. The market is telling you something. New IH-45 pricing runs $600,000 to over $800,000 fully optioned. When used units appear, 2018 to 2021, they trade at $350,000 to $500,000. That retained value relative to original purchase price is not marketing. It is the market pricing in build quality that it cannot find elsewhere. Foretravel constructs their own aluminum unitized body. The structural integrity difference between this method and stick and tin competitors is measurable at 5 years of full timing and dramatic at 10. Interior failures, wall separation, floor delamination, fixture loosening from chassis flex that plague volume-built coaches simply happen less in a unitized aluminum body. That is not a brand claim. That is physics. Spartan chassis, Cummins engine, both proven standards. The differentiation is entirely in the body, and that body holds together in ways that reduce ownership cost attrition, that quietly destroys the economics of cheaper builds. Biggest hidden cost? Parts lead time. Low production volume means some proprietary Foretravel components have supply chains that do not move fast. This is a coach for buyers who plan ahead and travel flexibly, not for buyers who need a 3-day shop turnaround. Who should not buy it? Buyers with fixed itineraries. If your schedule has hard deadlines, seasonal destinations, family commitments, event schedules, unpredictable service windows create real exposure. This is a coach for flexible full-timers. Period. Number 6. Winnebago Grand Tour. Here is the part that surprises buyers who dismissed Winnebago a decade ago and never looked again. Winnebago has spent 10 years deliberately repositioning from mid-market into the premium segment. The Grand Tour is the clearest evidence of that strategy working. New 2026 pricing $175,000 to $230,000. Used 2020 to 2022 units available between $115,000 and $160,000. That is the most accessible entry point on this entire list, and at that price, with a Freightliner XCR chassis and Cummins ISB engine, the platform credentials are legitimate. What Winnebago has built that most premium brands underestimate is service infrastructure. Their Forest City factory support and expanding dealer network make this one of the most serviceable luxury coaches in North America.
For buyers who are newer to diesel pushing, this is the lowest risk on-ramp into the $150,000 plus segment, and that positioning is completely intentional. Factor in financing reality. At current rates, a $180,000 coach financed over 15 years carries meaningful monthly interest exposure. The Grand Tour's lower entry point reduces that financing drag significantly compared to coaches at $280,000 or $350,000. Smart buyers price total financing cost, not just sticker. Biggest hidden cost? The one-piece fiberglass roof. Beautiful when new, expensive when it develops a stress fracture from improper storage support. Full repair? $6,000 to $15,000. Inspect every seam. Any inspector who skips the roof on a Grand Tour is not doing their job. Who should not buy it? Buyers who want extensive customization. The Grand Tour's interior is a finished system. Major layout changes or system upgrades are expensive and complicated in a coach built to these tolerances. Buy it as is or do not buy it. Number 7. American Coach, American Dream. And this is where most buyers get blindsided, because on paper, this looks like the smartest deal in the entire market. Spartan K3 chassis, Cummins X15, Forest River's parts distribution network behind it, used 2019 to 2022 units at $210,000 to $310,000 with a platform that costs $480,000 new. The numbers look dominant. The spec sheet reads like a winner. This is the one I told you about at the start. Here is what the spec sheet does not show. American Coach is a Forest River product. Forest River is Berkshire Hathaway. Corporate ownership at that scale creates something buyers consistently fail to price: volume manufacturing incentives. When your manufacturer is optimizing for production throughput, the quality control culture is structurally different from a Foretravel or Tiffin building 200 to 400 units per year. Not categorically worse across every component, but different in the body, the interior fit, and the finish execution. And that difference shows up in warranty disputes, interior component failures, and fit and finish issues that American Dream buyers report at higher rates than owners of comparable priced competitors. The platform is real. The support network is real. The problem is everything built on top of that platform. And that's exactly what determines day-to-day livability over a 5-year ownership period. Biggest hidden cost? In this one destroys buyers who miss it. Generator hours. Coaches at this size run own-in generators with specific service and overhaul intervals. A used American Dream with 1,500 plus generator hours needs a potential overhaul priced in at $8,000 to $18,000 before you make an offer. Sellers who cannot produce a generator log are telling you something important. Listen to it. At current financing rates, buying this coach at $310,000 and discovering $25,000 in deferred maintenance 6 months later is not just a repair bill, it's compounding interest on a depreciating asset that was already priced wrong. That's how buyers lose $40,000 without a single catastrophic failure. Who should not buy it? Buyers who equate price with build precision. The American Dream's price point implies manufacturing focus that the volume ownership structure does not fully deliver. Buyers who understand this and price accordingly can find value here. Buyers who do not will be disappointed at $400,000. Buying guide. There's one number almost every buyer ignores, and it quietly determines whether you overpay or walk away clean. That number is not the sticker price. It's not even the used asking price. It's the total cost of ownership at mile 100. Here's how smart buyers build that number before they make an offer. Mileage limits for used luxury diesel pushers. Under 80,000 miles is the target zone. Between 80,000 and 120,000, you need documented service history and a certified inspector on site before any money moves. Over 120,000 miles, the purchase price must account for a probable major drivetrain event within your ownership window. Build that cost into your offer, not as a negotiating tactic, as a financial reality. Engine types to avoid above 36 feet, any gas V10. The Ford Triton V10 was capable in its era. In a 40-foot Class A at highway speed in 2026, it's a torque deficit in a fuel economy liability that compounds over mileage. Diesel only above 36 feet. This is not preference. This is math. Model years to prioritize: 2019 to 2022. Early enough to have cleared first-year quality issues on most platforms, late enough to have modern safety systems, updated slide mechanisms, and lithium battery compatibility. One specific caution: avoid 2020 calendar year production if possible. Pandemic-era supply chain disruptions affected component quality across the entire industry. Ask for the production date, not just the model year. They're not always the same number. Insurance reality buyers underestimate. Luxury coaches at $200,000 plus carry insurance premiums of $3,000 to $8,000 annually, depending on full timing status, storage location, and claims history. Full-timers pay more, coastal storage adds more. Factor this into your annual ownership cost before you fall in love with a monthly payment that doesn't include it. Common repair costs to budget before purchase, not after. Slide room seals, $3,000 to $8,000. Hydraulic leveling system overhaul, $2,500 to $7,000. Roof seal, $1,500 to $4,000. Generator service or overhaul, $2,000 to $18,000. Air brake service, $1,200 to $3,500. If a seller cannot document that these systems have been maintained, you are buying deferred maintenance. Either price it into your offer or walk. There is no third option. Here's the mistake that costs buyers $10,000 to $20,000 more than any single repair on this list. They skip the pre-purchase inspection to move faster than another buyer.
A motivated seller with two interested parties creates urgency. That urgency is a tactic, deliberate, practiced, and buyers who respond to it by waiving an independent inspection are making the single most expensive decision of the entire purchase process, and they will not realize it until the invoices start arriving 6 months later. A certified RTVI or NRVI inspector costs $400 to $800. That inspection identifies delamination, water intrusion, electrical faults, slide mechanism wear, hydraulic pressure loss, any single one of which can exceed $15,000 to correct after purchase. And the worst part? Most of the buyers who skip it thought they were being careful. They researched the brand, they read the reviews, they felt confident. Confidence without inspection is not due diligence. It is expensive optimism. No coach is worth buying without an independent inspection. If the seller refuses, that refusal is your answer. The people who lose money in this market do not realize it on day one. They realize it when they try to sell, when the listing sits for 90 days, when the first offer comes in $35,000 below what they expected, when the buyer's inspector finds the delamination they missed, the generator hours they did not price in, the roof membrane that was already failing on the day they signed. That is when the market tells them the truth. And the worst part? Most of those buyers thought they were being careful. Smart buyers hear that truth before the purchase. They run the inspection, they read the service logs, they evaluate the platform before they evaluate the floor plan. They price insurance, financing cost, and ownership attrition before they fall in love with a slide-out and a residential refrigerator. The coaches on this list are not perfect. Every single one has a vulnerability, a service exposure, a buyer profile it does not fit. The buyers who come out ahead are the ones who knew that before they signed, not the ones who discovered it after. Buy the platform. Inspect before you sign. Know your total cost of ownership before the ink is dry. That is the difference between a coach that funds your freedom and a coach that teaches you a $40,000 lesson you did not need to learn.